is in a matter of Stone versus Railing. Step forward.
Scott Stone is suing his ex-roommate, Kristen Railing, for the return of his rent and deposit.
Mr. Stone, you want your rent and your deposit back.
Yes, ma'am.
Moved in with Miss Railing on the 1st of March.
Correct.
And your rent was how much?
$600 per month.
And you gave her a $300 security deposit.
I gave her $1,200 down completely in total.
First month's rent and last month's rent, or was it first
Correct.
month's
Well,
rent?
first month and then a deposit.
And you gave that to her when you moved in on March 1st?
In 3 separate payments, yes, ma'am.
When were you finished with the payments?
The 28th, I believe, or according to this, the 26th of February, I made the last $900 payment on the $1,200.
And you didn't move in until March 1st?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me, Miss Railing, I read your answer, and your answer says that Mr. Stone was a problem from the beginning.
Yes.
Did that mean March 1st, March 2nd?
Honestly, I noticed the first incident on the night that I came to pick up the final deposit. I went to his house to pick up his deposit, the rest of the money, and he had asked me to give him a ride to a show that he was going to, and I noticed in that time that he was quite intoxicated.
Okay, and then he moved in.
And then he moved in, and he had just broken up with his girlfriend,
like,
so
"Yep, she played
I
that
assumed
card."
that he was going through a rough patch, and he was
there I
drinking,
am.
and that was fine.
I'm like, oh.
But then about 9 days after he moved in on March 9th, I was trying to sleep, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I had to get up early. I'm a circus acrobat, and I train a lot, and the whole house goes to bed early, and at about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I heard mumbling and then skerfuffling and then cursing and then a really loud bang coming from Mr. Stone's room, which is directly connected to my room. And so I knocked on the door.
And what time was this?
About 10:30-ish. I wrote my roommate right after the incident, and it was 10:50, so sometime before that. And I knocked on the door, and Mr. Stone was on the floor, drunk. I asked him if he was fighting with somebody. He was alone. I asked him if he had heard any noises, loud banging or anything, and he looked at me as though there was no noise.
Okay, so he was on the floor. He was drunk and he fell on the floor.
Yes.
And what happened?
And then I told him that, this kind of behavior wasn't acceptable and that maybe he was unhappy living here, and I never evicted him, but
Okay,
it was
you have to give him his money back. Let's be clear.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You should want to give him his money back. How much did you give him back?
So far, I have given him nothing.
Well, you have to give him his money back.
I tried to break down the bills.
Let me explain something to you. When you have a roommate, you can't unless you have a written lease with them that requires them to be in bed by 10 o'clock and not drink in the apartment. They can swing from the chandeliers if they want to at 10 o'clock at night. That's what happens when you have a roommate. And if you went in and said to him, this kind of behavior can't continue, maybe you're not happy here, and he took that as this kind of behavior can't continue, this is my behavior. This is what I'm going to do now. So you say, listen, this was a mistake for everybody.
Yeah.
Goodbye. What your answer suggests is, since he didn't give you notice, he doesn't get any money back. Well, you don't break down the bills. He moved out on what date?
He moved out on March 15th.
He's being very, very nice to you. I would have given him his entire $1,200 back that he gave you, because you can't dictate to him. You and your 3 roommates are responsible people. You should probably, and if you all go to bed at 10 o'clock and get up early in the morning to train, you should probably live alone together or live with somebody whose job is consistent with yours so that they too go to bed at 10 o'clock.
When we spoke beforehand,
If it's not in writing and part of your lease, it doesn't exist. He's only suing you for $900. He's suing for the return of his security deposit and for half a month's rent. He's being very reasonable. Don't be ridiculous. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. Well done.
You didn't say one
What's it
word.
about?
Judge Judy continues in a
I
moment.
just sat there. Well, I had to
And on the next Judge Judy.
he bailed on us.
Yeah, one, so whatever, right?
He fell down drunk and was cursing and screaming.
There might have been some cursing. There might have been some mumbling, but I don't think I was being out of line. But I definitely wasn't drunk.
What friendship?
Everything has lifespan, and some things just need to be let go of, right?